What up? Sorry it's been a while. Spent like the last couple weeks installing a new head on my B5, and since I was doing that, I had to kind of step away from the C5 for a minute. Basically, what we're looking at here, the driver's side of the car. Up here, looking into the trans mount, the axle, the downpipes, and ultimately, eventually, this transmission range sensor. I guess we'll take a look at what happened with the old one. Basically, fucked it up pretty good. Looking pretty sick up in there. Anyway, this is routed up into like probably the most ridiculous fucking spot ever. We gotta remove this trans mount and the trans mounting bracket, which is under this heat shield, that's like the beginning of the struggles with this job on this car. And that part makes the rest of it pretty easy. Or it makes it seem pretty easy, I mean. Just knackered this thing up, banged it around. We're gonna file this down, I think, and wrap it with some electrical tape or something. It'll probably do. There's a couple of write-ups on this job in some forums, Audi Zine, VW Vortex, Audi World, stuff like that. A lot of those really good write-ups don't have pictures. A lot of the videos that I've seen are pretty vague, so I'm going to try to maybe just point out things that are a real pain in the ass while trying to get access to this transmission range sensor or neutral safety switch, and what I'm in the process of doing to get this shit replaced, basically. If you don't have a lift, you could do this definitely by jacking it up. Seen videos of it, and a lot of the write-ups, that's exactly how people are doing it. Since I have a lift that I invested in, it seems to make sense to use it. Basically, what you're gonna want to do is take your wheel off, if you can, turn it to the left, this way, or to the right, whatever is gonna give you better access, but it should open up a little bit more room in here because everything is very, very tight. The first thing that I did was remove this shield that sits right on top of the boot. You can see two of the holes. Oh, there's all three for it. Basically, you're gonna do that, and you should be able to pull it right out. Then, after you do that, you're gonna want to unbolt and remove this heat shield right here for the trans mount and the trans bracket. That's the trans mount bolt right there in the center. It's also going to be held on from underneath by these two bolts. If there's a clamp in the way of either of the bolts on the heat shield, that's what that is. Probably 8 mil or something like that. Don't quote me, but that's gonna be, at least in mine, it was right in the way of this bolt on the left, and I just had to loosen it and slide it down. The third bolt's up here somewhere. You'd probably only be able to feel it Again, everything is extremely tight in there. And this heat shield that we're about to look at pretty much gets in the way of everything. You'll see this hole right here. And there's one up under this on this side. And there's also one at the top. Those are going to be for your transmission bracket. And the bolts for that are going to be 8mm hex. This one got stripped, so we had to get it out, extract it, reverse thread it, whatever you want to call it. You want to keep in mind that the bottom leftmost bolt is going to be longer, I believe, than the rest of them. Double check that for sure before you do it, but if I remember right, that's how it was. And write-up should explain, also shows it in a couple other videos. So at this point, basically, all I needed to get to was the bolt up here for the heat shield and trans mount. To be able to take it out, remove this bolt, and then lift up the trans mount and pull it out. Because the sensor again is sitting right behind this mount and we need to remove it in order to replace it. So we'll lower it down a little bit. And hopefully you guys can see what's going on with the heat shield, because that's the cherry on top of the ice cake over here. Okay. You're probably gonna have to remove your Y pipe and MAF. We got it. Chilling in the back seat. Don't mind everything in here. Definitely clean it out before it moves out of this shop. But combi valve, that's pretty much got to go. This air pump or whatever the hell it is right here definitely gets in the way. Same with this line that the combi valve's sitting on. Same with this camshaft position sensor. This red sensor you're definitely gonna have to remove. This O2 sensor, super sick, super awesome. That's gonna have to come out. And your coolant shit's gonna have to move. Should easily be able to find out how to do all of that stuff. And then your engine bay is probably not gonna look like, it's not gonna look like this. Swear to God, it's not. This heat shield is like perfectly formed over all of this. Really hard to show you because I fucking mangled it. But also, this job is murder on your hands. That ain't no joke. Even without snipping this shit to pieces. See if we can get a better view. So yeah, this basically perfectly forms. And this right here, you can kind of see in the center is one of the bolts connecting the downpipe to the turbo. There's another one right there. There's two that you can see pretty easy and access from the bottom. The O2 sensor right there above my finger. I got mine out, but you'll be able to see it, and it's gonna block this shield from coming out. Not the shield would come out anyway, because it's in there pretty much the way I see it. I'm gonna have to remove the downpipe to even get the shield off at this point, or just go for it and completely cut it in half. But it's a real bitch that in there. You could maybe do it if you're a contortionist, but it's gonna take a lot of time, be super frustrating, and it's gonna be a battle for sure. But I read that you could just cut it off. If we gotta remove the pre-cats because it gets too hot or something, then we could do that, or we could just try to wrap it in some exhaust tape. You could see that this 8mm is connected to that top bolt for the trans bracket. And at this point I got all the bolts out for the downpipe. Most of these other bolts are removed. We just got to drop this downpipe out of the car, or try to move it enough that we can get on that. Well, I guess we gotta just remove it because it ain't gonna stay in the car like that. So once I figure out how to move this downpipe, get that loosened up, I guess I can show you guys the rest of the job if you want to see it. And then we'll definitely get some action if it fixes it and if it works, because I haven't driven this car in a long time. It's just been so sweet.